The demonic return, he came back wrong. What if the thing you loved most returned, changed? What if the joy of reunion masked a terrifying truth? Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about loyalty and love, because this is a story about a family, a dog, and the darkness that followed him home. The slam of the front door echoed through the house, a sharp punctuation mark on a seemingly ordinary autumn afternoon. A gust of wind, carrying the scent of decaying leaves, swirled through the open doorway. Then came the bark, a desperate echoing cry that sent shivers down their spines. Max, their golden retriever, the heart of their family, was gone. He'd bolted, chasing some unseen phantom, disappearing into the woods behind their home. The year that followed was filled with a quiet ache of loss. The house felt empty, the silence deafening without the click of his nails on the hardwood floors, the thump of his tail against the furniture. They searched, they called, they prayed, but Max remained lost. Then, 1 year later, the impossible happened. The front door creaked open, seemingly of its own accord. A familiar golden form bounded through, tail wagging furiously, tongue lolling out in a happy grin. Max was back. A whirlwind of joyous chaos erupted. The children screamed with delight, tears streaming down their faces as they threw their arms around the dog they thought they'd lost forever. Hugs were exchanged, choked with emotion. The house vibrated with the ecstatic yelps of the children and the relieved sighs of the parents. Max lapped at their faces, nudged their hands with his wet nose, reveling in the attention. He was home. He seemed unchanged, the same goofy, lovable golden retriever they remembered. He chased his tail, fetched his favorite ball, and snuggled on the couch, just like old times. The family felt whole again, their hearts overflowing with gratitude. But as the initial euphoria faded, a creeping unease began to settle in. It was subtle at first, a nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right. The joy was slowly replaced by a disquieting sense of wrongness. It was in his eyes, the same warm brown eyes they had always loved, but now there was something different. A glint, a flicker of something else, a knowing that wasn't there before. There was a darkness, a depth hinted at in those eyes, something ancient and malevolent lurking beneath the surface. It was a subtle shift, almost imperceptible, but it was enough to send a chill down their spines. The playful, gentle companion they knew and loved began to transform. He became possessive and territorial, guarding his food bowl with a snarl, growling at strangers, even those he'd known for years. His personality was shifting. He would stare into shadows for hours, head cocked at unnatural angles, as if listening to whispers only he could hear. He would bark at empty corners of the room, his fur bristling, his eyes fixed on something unseen. The playful nips that were once a sign of affection turned into sharp bites, leaving bruises that lingered longer than they should. His behavior was becoming increasingly erratic and aggressive. The family tried to rationalize the changes. He was lost for a year, they reasoned. He must be traumatized, suffering from canine PTSD. They clung to any explanation that would allow them to ignore the growing dread in their hearts. They consulted vets who found nothing physically wrong. They hired trainers who were baffled by his unpredictable behavior. They even consulted a pet psychic who left the house pale and shaken, refusing to say what she had sensed. Nothing seemed to help. Max remained a shadow of his former self, a creature of unsettling contradictions. He could be loving and affectionate one moment and then turn vicious and unpredictable the next. The unease escalated into fear. The children, once so eager to cuddle with him, now flinched at his approach. They whispered about the glint in his eyes, the way he seemed to watch them, to study them. The parents were haunted by the same unsettling feeling. They started locking their bedroom door at night, a silent admission of their growing terror. The house, once a sanctuary, was now permeated by a chilling atmosphere. A sense of dread clung to the air like a shroud. The laughter and joy that once filled the house were replaced by hushed whispers and anxious glances. The family was falling apart, consumed by the fear of the creature they had welcomed back into their lives. Max was back, but something else was present. Something wore the guise of their beloved dog, a malevolent entity that had taken root in their home. The joy of his return morphed into terror as they realized the horrifying truth. They had not welcomed back their lost pet. They had welcomed a demon into their lives. The creature that now shared their home, that slept at the foot of their children's beds, was not Max. It was something far more sinister. The golden fur, the wagging tail, the wet nose, it was all a disguise. A mask worn by something ancient and evil, something that had waited patiently for its chance to return, to corrupt, to destroy. The nightmare had only just begun. If you enjoyed this descent into darkness, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more horror stories that will keep you up at night. Share this video with your friends who love a good scare, and let us know in the comments what you thought of Max's terrifying return. What would you do if your beloved pet came back? Wrong.